Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to cover the New York State Sullivan Act real quick as far as the jurisdiction is concerned. There is a lot of confusion on this by people who live inside and outside New York State. And if you didn't know, the New York State Sullivan Act makes up a large portion of New York State handgun law. It was originally, when passed, called the Sullivan Act. That was the name given to it. It's now referred to as Article 400 of the New York State Penal Law, but it's still basically called the Sullivan Act by people who are kind of in the know with the law. Basically, the main confusion on the Sullivan Act is everyone thinks this is a New York City law. This is incorrect. The Sullivan Act is a New York State law, effective statewide. All right? It was passed by the New York State Senate. It was also passed by the New York State Assembly, and it was signed into law on May 29, 1911, by Governor John Dix, the New York State Governor. Therefore, it is a New York State law, effective New York statewide. Now, people also misconstrue this because there is a lot of exceptions in New York State law when it comes to the pistol handling for New York City. You'll find it in other aspects of New York State law, where New York State City gets like a special exemption under the law, or they get their special little tax purposes, or this, that, and the other thing. These little exceptions under state law for the state license in the locality of New York City actually come from state law. They do not originate under local law. Okay, these are state laws. One of the main things that people don't understand is, because people know that upstate pistol licenses, or really any New York State pistol license that's issued outside of New York City, they are not allowed to carry that gun inside New York City. And the way that sounds, it sounds like it's a local law. It sounds like New York City basically said, unless the New York State pistol license is issued by us, you cannot carry in New York City. This is incorrect. It is not a New York City law. It is a New York State law. You will find that directly in New York State, where it specifically says that any license issued outside of the city of New York, you are not qualified to carry the gun inside the city of New York. And it gives some other ones as well. And last time I checked, it was a Class A misdemeanor to do so if you're caught carrying in New York City with a New York State pistol license issued outside of New York City. State law also gives New York City much more power in determining how much they're going to charge for the pistol license fee. Statewide, they have one number that they charge to run the fingerprints and everything else, but they allow New York City to jack up the price and charge. Last time I checked, I think New York City was charging like $300 something, maybe $350, something like that. It could have changed by now. They might even be charging more. I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure it's set up under the New York State, or I'm sorry, the New York City local laws. They decide how much they're going to charge for the pistol license application down there. And every couple of years, New York City pistol licenses have to be renewed. That's not a local law either. That is a New York State law. You will find it right in Article 400 that the New York City pistol licenses, and I believe Westchester, and I think there's another county or two, maybe the Long Island counties, Suffolk and Nassau, also require that pistol licenses be renewed every couple of years. And that's written right into state law. That is not part of their local laws down there. It's not part of local law in Long Island or New York City or Westchester County. Those are state laws. Basically, they have enough political power down there to influence state law to say, make an exception for us. We want this exemption for our county, our city, put it into state law, and they did. And they've done that numerous times, and you'll find that throughout New York State handgun law. And you will also find it in other aspects of law as well for New York City. Not just the handgun laws. So basically that's it. There's New York State handgun law is a very, very big, broad issue. There is a lot of law under Article 400 and Article 265, but this video I just wanted to make sure that people understand that the Sullivan Act is not a New York City law. It is a New York State law. And the misconception is because there are so many exceptions for New York City to do basically as it sees fit. These are not arising from local law either. They arise straight out of the state penal law. So New York City does have special powers for the handgun licenses given to them by state law. But I do want to make it clear, it's not a New York City pistol license. It is a New York State pistol license, except they just give them more power than they do the rest of the counties. As far as that goes, the two main components of the New York State Sullivan Act, as far as statewide is concerned, is one, all handguns have to be registered and the person has to have a license that those guns are registered on. And number two is that the licensing officer of the counties, and once again New York City, it's its own licensing establishment because it's a joint union between 5 counties. I believe it's somebody in the police force that actually determines or handles the license for them. Anyway, the licensing officers, regardless if you're in the city of New York or the upstate counties or the counties on Long Island, is the county licensing officer under law is just given arbitrary discretion for a carry license. So those are the two main components. There are a lot more aspects under Article 400. There's a whole list of them, but those are basically the two broad things. Is the registration of all the handguns on a license by the registered licensee, and the arbitrary discretion of the carry licenses, which varies from county to county, New York City, Long Island as well. So I'll get into more detail about all of those things and a lot of other specifics people don't know, but I just wanted to cover that aspect here. And that aspect is the Sullivan Act does not apply just to New York City. It is a statewide license, and New York City has won certain powers under state law. They do not arise from local law in New York City. So I just wanted to cover that, and be safe while you're carrying, know where you're carrying, know the laws where you carry at, and I'll talk to you soon.